It could be like a Freaky Friday situation where I suddenly embody take over Justin's body and.
Oh dear! Could you imagine?
Right, guys, welcome back to SCS Golf's podcast In the Rough, number 2. Big week last week, so kicking it off with some of the big news, some of the more unfortunate news. Tiger's back surgery.
Yeah, number 5, I think it is now. So should be back in time for the Masters, is what they're saying. But I'm not holding out hope that he's going to pull off 2019 again. I think his competing days are done. In all honesty, controversial opinion, but I think one too many back surgeries, and I don't think he plays enough golf anymore to compete with everyone who's playing week in, week out.
I don't know if he necessarily needs to play enough golf, because at the end of the day he is Tiger. But from everything I saw last year and with this, is he going to come back fit enough? Because last year as well, anytime he was out on a round, there was always the worry of, is his back going to go again? Is it going to go again? And it's gone.
Yeah.
Well, he's come back 4 times already. What's one more?
I mean, if he's persistent...
They probably said this after the second surgery, after the third surgery.
Yeah, but he's another year older now, isn't he? He's like 40.
He won the Masters after the 4th. He might come back and maybe get a few points in the Ryder Cup in 22.
Last year he had his best first round ever at the Masters and then completely fell off because he can't sustain it anymore. And I think there is something to be said for playing golf week in, week out, because he might have a magic moment here and now, but you've got to be used to the 4 days, the 2 days before, like the pro-ams, doing all that sort of stuff, walking the course 4 days in a row instead of getting a cart round for your practice rounds. You know,
he doesn't need to. The rest of the players need to play more events because I guess their endorsement agreements and doing all that, they need to play more, and obviously points. Tiger's not bothered. Nike are never going to drop him unless he crashes again and causes trouble elsewhere, but they're never going to drop him. He doesn't need to do any of it.
But what I'm saying, he doesn't need to, but if he's going to compete again, he does need to. Although it's Tiger, he's not Tiger of 2003 when he's 5 shots around better than everyone, but he can get away with it.
It's a fact of he can't, because in 2003 he was hitting it further than everyone with a driver almost.
He was.
That's just not the case anymore. You know, where every single player on the course is going to be almost a bigger hitter than him. You know, there's only a few players that aren't. You know, so much for us to sit here and say, 270 yards, awful. But, when Dustin's hitting it 330 and Rory's hitting it 340 as well, it puts him, there is that disadvantage that comes into play, even though what I still think is he can still plot his way around a course better than just about any other player out there.
It depends on the course, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So, but, I think overall, it's sort of, I don't think you're going to be seeing him last pairing on a Sunday of a major. I might be wrong, but
I mean,
I'm sure he'll be back for the father-son tournaments.
Yeah,
I'd want to see him on the Champions Tour. I don't know if he. But the thing is, what does he want? Does he want to go out on the high of winning one more, or would he rather preserve himself and play on the Champions Tour for however many years? Where
he's a winner, isn't he? So he'll want to win something else, but. I think there's something to be said as well now. You can see that he's sort of changed as he's got older, and he knows he can't necessarily compete as well. He's a lot more jovial, smiling on the golf course. He's talking to the other players. He's kind of helping kind of Rory and kind of Morikawa and all that sort of stuff develop them as more of a mentor side of things. So he's always got that. Have you seen
all of the tailor-made videos?
Yeah, I think he's always going to be the biggest draw at any event until he does retire because it is Tiger. So. He's always got that. So,
well, we wish him the best of luck.
Yes, I'd want to see him win it again because I think if he wins, it's great for golf. I mean, he's the most iconic golfing figure probably ever.
Nicholas?
No.
But I guess
Nicholas is probably one more. But if you look at the timings, Tiger when he was at the peak, golf was sort of peaking,
making it global,
like universal, worldwide.
He's a Jordan of golf, isn't he? Really?
Michael Jordan was the right player at the right time when golf became global. Tiger was sort of the same for golf. So, yeah.
Go. No, there you go.
I can't argue with that one.
No, you can't. No. Well, wishing the best of luck. I'm sure he'll be back, but in what capacity, we'll wait to see. But I guess next on the agenda, another big news from last week was obviously Brooks splitting from his coach, Claude Harmon. Obviously, big move, big decision. What's everyone's thoughts?
Well, it's been with him from 2013, so literally his whole career. But I think you look at Brooks's since probably beginning of 2019 for various reasons, injuries and whatnot. He's not been the same since then, and I think sometimes when you get to that stage, you have to make big changes. Tiger, for example, let's talk about him, changed caddy after a while. He was with his previous caddy for like a decade and had to change that. And you look at, things like Rory changing caddies. I mean, it happens a lot, and I think it's that one thing, just a different set of eyes, potentially, at the end of the day, just to bring something new and fresh when it's clearly not working.
But is it the coaching that's not working, or is it the fact that he can't keep himself fit for a whole year without something going?
I agree with that, because obviously 2 years back he went through that streak of having like the most top 5 finishes in like majors in like 2.5 year period. He was dominant without necessarily winning everything, but he was always there or thereabouts. But then injuries have set it back, and that was the Claude that was coaching him then. So
yeah, but as a player,
is it more of needing to add a coach to his department? Other players have specialist fitness coaches aside from like a Claude.
I imagine he has that as well. I imagine he has quite a big team just for the type of player he is. But as an individual athlete, because he is healthy now and he's just missed a cut and he's missed multiple cuts end of last year, it's kind of the point where he probably feels he has to make a change just to spark something a little bit. And Brooks has never been one to really care too much about regular events anyway. He said that he only really cares about the majors, so it's probably more gearing up for that and getting a fresh set of eyes for that. Even if it's the next 1% that he could get, in professional golf, that makes sort of all the difference. So it's the finer margins, but
What still stands out to me is when he went in against Morikawa on the final day when he was winning. And I don't know if it was the coaching or if it was the mental at that point, because he went in with that lead at a major. And is it the mental or was it technique? Because his technique wasn't awful that day. He didn't. I think he ended up par of the day. But does golf need to bring in more of the sports science in terms of the psychiatrist who work?
Oh no, that's the thing. He will have that. But as you're saying, as a pro golfer, how often is it in any sport, the people at the top of the sport, if something's going wrong, do they sort of look at themselves and go, "Oh, it's me. I need to do this, and this about myself"? They usually find some sort of outlet to kind of go, "I need to change this first, and then we'll see if that changes anything."
But I guess you have to be like that if you're going to be competitive, because you have to have that self-belief, surely.
Yeah, and there could be other reasons that haven't been said why, Maybe Claude doesn't want to do it with Brooks anymore. We're not thinking about Claude here, are we? We're only thinking about what Brooks wants. Come on. Equal partnership, guys.
I do agree with Tom. I think there does need. It's like in football, if a team's playing poorly, they don't go to the players and tell them to sort it out. They get rid of the manager and the coach.
They sacked Lampard, didn't they? Waste of space.
Yeah, TT's done great.
Yeah.
I called it. I should have put on it, but I called it.
Another sports, I believe it.
But there's also Brooks.
We'll get on to that.
So there's also Brooks as well. The rumours, isn't there? He's coming out and potentially signing with Shrixon as well. So again, back 2017-18 when he won his 4 majors, he was a equipment free agent. So I want to get your thoughts on. Do you think it's better to get all your equipment from one brand, even if one club slightly isn't as good as another brand, or be a free agent, be able to choose the best of everything and have your pick?
Well, it was a thing with Honda, wasn't it?
2018, for example, was equipment free agent.
Well, it was a thing with Honda that Justin signed with them, and then he had his worst spell in absolutely ages. And obviously, it's a massive risk for both a brand, isn't it? If you align yourself with the player, and then they go through that sort of spell and that player then changes, that naturally is going to have a big impact on your marketing. So is it better for the players, or are they forced into it from the money standpoint?
I agree. It's forced. It is. I think every player, if they had, would have a different brand putter, a different brand wedges, different brand irons that suit their play, but no top sports companies will agree to have it. If you sign with someone, they supply your whole bag. There's no two ways about it. TaylorMade aren't going to go, yeah, we'll only supply your irons. You use whoever else you want for your drivers. It's not, no big brand's going to do that.
If you're Rory McIlroy, for example, the amount of money you're making anyway from other opportunities, other sponsorship, your winnings, whatever. And TaylorMade historically, they make great drivers, great woods. Irons are much better now, but their wedges in comparison to Vokey at Titleist, for example, that could be the area that he's missing. Would you not want to explore that? Because you're still not really going to be making too little less money.
But then surely only the top 3 or 5 players can do that, whereas everyone else, because they're not finishing top 5 every weekend or most weekends, they need to rely on the.
But if you're better for having different brands within different areas of your bag, you're going to win more money.
Yeah, but then that relies on you winning the pots.
Yeah, but if you're better for it, you're going to win more money.
But then it goes to your point of how much better are you going to be, because it's marginal.
Yeah, but
it's not like if you put like a Spider putter in the bag compared to a Scotty, suddenly you're going to putt everything. It's
potentially the difference between coming 10th at a major or winning it, like Brooks. The 2018, for example, they were all free agents with equipment. So they obviously had that choice, and each one of them won. So that's the difference.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot to be said for it, because naturally, like you said, I'd rather have a Vokey veg than a Cobra one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you'd probably want a TaylorMade driver. So if you can mix and match, you're gonna get best of the worlds, aren't you? Really?
It's like Formula One. I'd love to see a tournament where. Like Formula One, if you said it, they all had the same car, who'd be the best driver? They should do a tournament, but they all have play with exactly the same clubs, and see what happens.
Yeah, but which supplier is going to run that tournament? That's the problem.
No, but at the same time, with golf, you'd have to play them. They'd all have to
any
tee
supplier.
Up
surely you'd want to run that, because then you run the event. If everyone says they're amazing, fine, you probably get more athletes signed up to you, great, and then you have the added benefit of. Everyone using your clubs, and it's just like one event.
I think it's a good idea in principle, but in practice it would never happen, because everybody on the tour is on an agreement with someone, so they would never
do it with
be
the 1980s. Do it with 1918's Ben Hogan's irons, because no one uses those on tour. No one can moan about it.
I like the look of the new Ben Hogan irons. So
they are lovely.
Don't even knock them.
They just don't have the financial backing to get any of the big dogs on board. That's the.
But then the thing is, with the competitive price they're at, they don't necessarily want to, because the second you sign a big player, you have to pay them so much money. You have to up the price.
TaylorMade are in so much debt because they're having to pay every player 100 million over 10 years. So
that's why their drivers are 3 times the price of everything else. Yeah. Even though statistically they're not that much better.
1 yard further.
It's like buying a Mercedes. It's a brand.
But Mercedes are good. Leave it up.
So yeah, your Mercedes is older than the Ben Hogan irons, mate.
And it didn't start this morning.
That has nothing to do with golf.
Yeah. So yeah, do you want to skip to the next section if I'll save you here? So they've announced this week as well the 2022 PGA Championship has been stripped away from Trump's Bedminster, obviously to Southern Hills. I think most people would agree, probably in the current climate, the right decision, but I think it's more them just not wanting to deal with any issues, so they've just kind of jumped the gun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why they didn't do it earlier.
The next one?
Yeah? We're all in agreement?
Yeah. I don't think sensible.
It's all Trump in Scotland. His courses in Scotland have said they're never going to host an Open, so it seems they just want to distance themselves from it, because it is a bit controversial. And
I imagine there'll be a woke player that will say, "Oh, if there's a tournament there, I won't play."
I think the players. I think the players will play because they get paid enough to do that. I think there'll just be a case of the media surrounding it.
Interestingly enough,
the tour events where they can choose, I think if they don't need to do it, a lot of them will just enjoy saying no because of Trump.
Apparently, at every Trump course, there's pictures of him down the hallways when you come in, right? And it's got all the records for for the club because he plays every first round and runs it as a tournament, but he's the only one playing. So he's always the first club champion, and he always cheats to get the lowest score. Always says he got a hole in one, so he's always the first on everything for the club. And apparently, it's like that every single one of his golf courses.
I can believe it. I mean, if I had that much money and power, I would probably do the same. So it's probably the most relatable thing I've heard of Trump.
Also, if I had that much money and power, I'd get a ton of golf lessons, the best clubs, and I wouldn't have to worry about cheating.
Yeah, but that's not him.
He was trying to run
That requires
That's a bit of work, isn't it? To actually get those lessons and practice.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on, obviously, to a topic we covered last week as well, was obviously the Justin Thomas Slur outrage, is probably the best way to put it. I guess other than Ralph, everybody else has stuck by him. As you said, standing by him, obviously talking about him donating portions of winnings and earnings to the LGBTQ causes and so on. Do you think that's the right decision from everyone else? Were Ralph too rash with their decision, or?
I think they did. They just wanted the publicity from dropping him, in all honesty, because everyone else is. Yes, it is a thing. He shouldn't have said it. But he's come out. He's apologized. All of that. They didn't want. They wanted the publicity from it, and I said this last week as well, that by being the first one to come out as well, yes, they can put it as, we don't want to lose a single customer, we don't want to offend anyone, but they wanted to get it in the headlines, because if everyone came out and dropped him, they would just be one of 10, 20, but because they're the only ones, they're still getting the headlines that they want. So
I heard some rumours as well, or some, I'll say conspiracy theories more than rumours, that obviously with the pandemic, Ralph being a closed retailer has been struggling, so saw it as a great opportunity to cut a very expensive contract and backlog for them.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. That's why I always wondered why they did sponsor golf, but it's just a bit weird. But I quite like how City have done it, because it actually means something positive is going to come out of it, rather than just getting the publicity. Although the only thing I don't get about it is they want him to donate a portion of what they're paying him. So surely they should just donate it in his name and just lower his contract.
I think the point of it is they'll say we will honour your contract, but for X period of time, any money we owe to you has to go to X causes.
But I think it would be better if it was a portion of his winnings, because that would actually show that he's
actually sacrificing something.
It's still going out there and playing, but for less money, and actually for that,
Yeah, but that's reliant on him winning. He could just go, my percentage of winning for the next 3 tournaments, and purposely bottle them as a middle finger to society. He's probably
but that won't go down well.
if he goes out there, well, who knows? Maybe
over.
Maybe that's what Abu Dhabi was.
I've forgotten how to play golf.
This tournament cost me more money than I've made. Oh no!
It could be like a Freaky Friday situation where I suddenly take over Justin's body and.
Oh dear! Could you imagine? First tee shot, and on the tee, Justin Thomas straight into the announcer.
Yeah. And he hasn't even made it to the ladies' tee. Justin Thomas. I did see there seems to be a trend at the moment going round when people play scrambles or 4 balls or anything. Seems to be a new rule in the men's game. If you don't make it past the women's tee box, you have to play that shot with your trousers down.
Right.
Which I'm pointing out, that is going to happen. So don't do it. See how.
You have to take a drive at every tee shot, make sure it gets.
And also, if your golf ball does not leave the tee box, that still counts.
Seab's in trouble.
Yeah. Right, Seab, we'll move on for you, mate. We'll move on. So, last week we made some very good predictions for Abu Dhabi and some horrendous ones for the American Express. So we'll see. To see how
focused on Abu Dhabi.
Predicted Hassan winning, which he did. In fairness, all 3 of our selections were all in the running, top 3 coming into the last day. That was Rory for Tom and Fleetwood for myself. So yeah, all were in the running. Obviously, a couple of them had worse rounds. Tyrrell, very professional and sleek throughout. See how you predicted it. You got anything to say, but no gloating, please?
Oh, well, this is difficult then. No, I think he had one little hiccup with the round being split over a couple of days due to bad light. But to be honest, I think he showed why he is being ranked by so many people as, you know, one to watch out for in the next few years. He didn't really show any weakness in any facet, really. You know, kept up with the big boys in terms of drivers. Iron play was very, very good. Yes, he got a few lucky lies in a couple of situations, and he got a couple of lucky bounces, but you need your luck to go with you. But, you know, the fact that he kept with Rory, kept up with Fleetwood, I think it says a lot about him.
Yeah, I thought it was actually fantastic, to be honest. That, you know, he's gone up to 5th in the world, so he's up there with the big boys. I don't think he's an unknown commodity anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's one to watch for the next 2 years. He was odds-on joint favourite to win the tournament before it started. That's not a one to watch.
The biggest thing I think that came out from it, though, was that he was consistent the whole way through the week, unlike Rory, for example. But into the final round, Rory got to a point where he was 2 shots ahead of him, and he still beat him. And I think that's the big thing. I think it's to say about Rory, mentally potentially not as strong, because, you know, Tyrrell was playing his game. He was forcing Rory to kind of have to adapt and try things that he doesn't like doing, and try to force him to kind of plot his way around the course, which he isn't sort of the best at. So I think that was the biggest thing from that. And I think the next step is majors for Tyrrell, because he missed the cut on 3 of them last year. So now he's not an unknown commodity, and expectations are there.
Yeah, but the thing is, in terms of natural talent, Rory had 2 good days and 2 bad days, and he was still up there. So, like,
the 2 good days were unbelievably good as well. He would have.
But the thing was, Tommy as well. He had a very rough start, but other than that, he kept up throughout the entire process.
The finish wasn't great.
Yeah, okay.
But I think that's the thing with Rory, though. When Rory is on, he is the best player in the world, because he can easily shoot a 64 without it looking like he's even trying, because everything works. He's hitting all the fairways for the driver 350 yards. He's hitting a wedge into every green. When he's not hitting the driver well, not swinging it the best, he can't. That's the difference between, like, Tiger, for example, or something like that. They're not playing well. They can get themselves around the course in like a 68 and a 4 under still by plotting their way around the course, accepting they're not playing the best. Whereas Rory seems to be that he still tries to play exactly the same, gets himself in trouble.
Did you hear his post-interview following on from the Abu Dhabi finish?
He said he didn't play that well or something.
No,
he got lucky.
But he also did talk about, like, that he felt like he had certain things going in certain days. But it's just a fact of the next question. The intriguing part of that for me was the fact of saying, yeah, I'm here. I'm flying out to America next week, then probably back. Because he's playing, like, 4 tournaments in 5 weeks. Is the amount of tournaments and the amount of travel they're doing affecting players like Rory, who are in Dubai 1 week, in the Middle East, then in America with a 10-hour time difference almost?
I'd say he's used to it.
That's less than a normal year that they're normally used to. It's less.
He's used to it, and this was the first tournament where he was already there for a week before the actual tournament week. So you probably see that, in the 4th week potentially. But I think it's just one of those things that he needs to sort of,
And I think a lot of the players that sat out for 6 months last year won't care about the schedule. They'll be itching to play. They'll want to be playing consistently.
Yeah.
Obviously, that might be more.
We're getting away from the point of the Tyrrell was amazing.
He was. So, he was brilliant. But yeah.
One point to Gryffindor for Seahab. But we'll move on to our American Express ones, which was all of our predictions missed the cut.
No, they didn't. Answer came 5th, and
that's our 20th place's prediction.
Where did Answer finish?
You would argue is even worse, the fact that the people we thought came 20th came better than the people we thought would win. So I don't know what that says about us, but so
yeah, not a good one, but I mean, Answer was 20th for a while.
Answer finished 5th, so respectable. Tom
The
went
thing-
to Reed, who missed the cut, and Nah, who followed up a great win in. Oh, I won't missing the cut. I went for Brooks, who missed the cut, and then Tony, the big boy, bottled.
This is something that I find amazing. You're starting to see stats from him that are ridiculous. Like he's had 35 top 10 finishes without a win.
Well, that's what I was saying
Finau.
last week. He's almost
Finau.
1,500
He just can't
days
get it done.
without a win.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
he just
1,500
can't
days.
Yeah. It's just a comical joke. That's why Tom. That's why Seb went with him to finish 20th, because you know he's not going to win.
I should have gone for a top 10 though by those stats.
Yeah, yeah. We say speaking about
Between
Rory not
third
being able
and
to get it
10th.
done in a final round. Yeah, Tony Finau. I can't imagine what goes on in his head. He must be like.
Every time I watch
He
him,
doesn't seem bothered by it. I think he's quite happy and content getting top 10s from what I see.
no, but every time I watch him, he looks good. Like there's just you can't figure out where he's dropping the shots necessarily, because it's
They
not
all
like
look good. It's just in between
No,
the
no, no,
years, isn't
but
it?
like-
At that stage.
no, but it's no in terms of like you can see he missed 2 or 3 really bad putts out there. Like Rory didn't get that eagle putt, and Tyrrell got the birdie putt, and that kept him, gave him the lead of 3. But you don't see that with Tony. You don't see him make big mistakes at crucial points. Just constantly throughout that he loses his way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know what to tell you, mate.
Consistency.
I think he needs a psychologist or something to get him
Great
over.
summary.
Across both of the tournaments, consistency is the key that everybody's been lacking. So, like, you look at even
But it's
Cantley on the final round of the American Express, 11 under on the final round, but still didn't win.
He kept
It
saying
shows like
so.
consistency.
But
Also,
11 under in a round around a hard golf course from the tips. 11 under is an absolute joke.
It is great scoring, but
But
a lot of people would argue because he was out of the running, there was almost no pressure.
That's what they always
Would
say
he
about
have
Rory
hit
at
an
the
11
Masters.
under
He
if
always
he was
comes top
leading?
5. Rory always comes top 5 at the Masters like the last 5 years, but he's never in the running, so he can just go ahead and just play free.
No,
And then he...
No, you missed it, Tom. He thinks he's in the running.
No, he doesn't, though.
Because we know he's not. Mentally,
He knows
for him,
he's
he
not.
thinks he is.
They know they're not when they're at that stage, so... But
then
yeah,
is that a comment on the courses as well, though? The fact of you can go 11 under in a single day out in the US, but on in Dubai or on the European tour, that's unheard of.
it's unheard of.
No, it's not unheard of, but like the
Rory
fact
went
of-
8 under the first day, isn't it? Like, but the big thing for me is that it's like Justin Thomas came over. I know he had all the distractions, but he missed the cut. Like the top players come out and play in Europe, and suddenly there's a bit of wind.
there's a bit of anything.
Not as good.
There's a bit of anything. It's not just perfect weather golf conditions.
But then it makes you wonder when the English people go over and play on the PGA Tour, why can't they win there if they can play in the wind and stuff? Surely it should be even easier for them to.
No, but then
play on the PGA Tour.
you do see them perform well. So you see McIlroy has done well. Justin Rose has done well. Paul Casey is doing okay out there at the moment as well.
They're not winning like 3-4 tournaments a year.
No, but
But
then
none of them live in the UK anymore, so no, they're all
Yeah,
live
true.
in the
I mean,
US,
Paul-
they live away.
That's
They
true.
don't
Yeah.
need to-
Casey is like he said he called himself a West Coast guy at the US Open. So
None of them live there. They're all in Miami and none of them
Florida,
are in the
yeah.
UK.
California,
to
or
practice.
aren't they?
Yeah, fair,
I mean,
no, fair
they're
point.
weighing up living a life of luxury in the sun or playing slightly better at the worst courses.
And then it's Tyrrell, from High Wycombe, going out there. And,
Quickly, we want to do kind of predictions leading up into the coming weeks now. Obviously, Torrey Pines, US Open, also there later this year. I guess predictions for that, and I get to go first this week after you guys last week. And I guess you got the likes of Schaefer, Ram, McIlroy, Reed, Brooks, Hopland, Wolf. There's a lot of guys in there, but I think my money is going to be on Rory. On to you, Tom.
I was going to say Rory because it fits in perfectly this course.
Yep.
It's long. You need to be a
No,
big
I
hitter.
actually did some research this week.
God damn. Although it does set up quite well, like you said, the US Open later this year. So I'll be interested to see if any of these players who play do well later in the year. If that actually has any.
it will
Since
have
it's a
no
long,
impact.
I'll go for Matt Wolf since it's such a long course. He's a big hitter. It's all right, mate. You got John Rahm. You can choose him.
Who are you going for? Go on.
Brooks hits it a long way.
It's not going to be Brooks. That'll be famous now.
I hope he wins, and I'll use this as my intro.
Yeah, let's write it down. Yeah, it's not going to be Brooks.
I'm just going to have to go Rahm. I was actually going to go Matty Wolff over Rory anyway, but
Ooh.
Yeah, but Rahm.
Okay.
Big John, fine. And then also you've got the Desert Classic out in Dubai as well, and that's most of the same guys that are over there at the moment, bar the likes of Rory. So obviously you've got Tyrrell, Justin Rose, Fleetwood's out there. Tom, you're up first for this one. Who you got?
I've got to go with Tyrrell, haven't I? He's playing so well.
Yeah.
You've got to go for old Tyrrell.
Do you guys just like taking my picks? Is that what you?
Well, no, he's the obvious pick. He's coming off a win from the last week. I'd argue there's even less competition this week.
Yeah. His main competition is less. So Torrey Pines.
To be honest, I think that's a pretty infallible pick. But I'll steal Seb's idea and I'll go with Fleetwood.
Yeah. Fine. No, I was going to go Tommy, but I will go Morikawa.
Oh, is he out there?
Judging by how
he is.
Judging by how Tyrrell played, the fact that it suited someone who can play the course well, pick his irons. I think that's going to suit Morikawa's game as well.
As we know, I love Morikawa, so I think
I'll be intrigued to see how he does as an American, a top American out there, because they don't have the best record, so that'll be interesting to see.
I still think Tommy will do better than Morikawa, though, because he's been out there a week more, bit more adjusted. He's played last week as well, and they would have had this week for the Pro-Ams and everything as well. So I do think, 1 hour drive from Abu Dhabi to Dubai is a lot easier to do than flying out from the US.
Guys, thanks for watching. Really hope you enjoyed the video. So much more to come over the coming weeks from myself and the team at SCS Golf. Remember, if you liked it, please do hit that subscribe button, smash that like button. If you haven't seen it already, you can see the link to our podcast here and another video we shot prior to lockdown up here. But yeah, so much more to come and look forward to sharing it all with you.